I'm Adam. And I'm Rex. And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Hey, Adam, you know what they say about sleeping, right? What do they say, Rex? Well, let sleeping dogs lie. It's a classic. True, but what about humans? Any maxims for us? Of course, early to bed, early to rise makes a human healthy, wealthy, and ready for a good game of fetch. I don't think that's how the saying goes. Well, maybe it should. I mean, who wouldn't want to be wealthy in tennis balls? In today's book, poor Groundhog just can't sleep. He tosses, he turns. Finally, he gets out of bed and goes exploring. Outside his burrow, he finds amazing sights he never seen before. Glowing jack-o'-lanterns, gobbling turkeys, and sparkling holiday lights. But shouldn't Groundhog be in bed? With no sleep, how will he be able to get up for his big day? Let's get started. Go to Sleep, Groundhog by Judy Cox. Illustrated by Paul Meisel. Groundhog went to bed on Columbus Day, just like he always did. He brushed his teeth. He put on his jammies. He set his clock for February 2nd. Then he curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He tossed and turned, but he couldn't get to sleep. Finally, he got out of bed. He peered at his clock. 1/2 October. Groundhog poked his nose outside his burrow. The moon was full. I'll just go for a little walk, he said. Maybe that will make me sleepy. Groundhog went outside. He saw things he'd never seen before. Raggedy scarecrows and grinning jack-o'-lanterns. Children dressed up like pirate cowboys and princesses. Halloween witch flew down.
What are you doing?
She said.
It's almost winter. You should be in bed.
Witch flew Groundhog home on her broomstick. She tucked him in. She read him a ghost story. She gave him a glass of apple cider. Groundhog curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He tossed and turned, but he couldn't get to sleep. Finally, he got out of bed. He peered at his clock. 1/2 November. How's your sleep routine? Oh, you know me, Adam. I've mastered the art of the power nap. Quick recharge, and I'm ready for more tail-wagging adventures. Impressive. I wish my students had your energy. Maybe I should start recommending power naps during recess. Great idea. You can call it barkin' nap time. Trust me, it'll catch on. I'll consider it, but for now I'll stick to the tried-and-true bedtime stories for my students. Bedtime stories, huh? Can I join you next time? I've got a few canine classics up my paw. Absolutely. We'll make it a Tales from the Doghouse night. Just remember, no howling during the emotional parts. Deal, Adam. I'll bring my A game in storytelling. Who says dogs can't spin a good yarn? You might just surprise us all, Rex. Now let's both catch some Z's. You with your power naps and me with a good book. He poked his nose outside his burrow. The leaves were red and yellow.
I'll just go for a little walk, he said. Maybe that will make me sleepy.
Groundhog went outside. He saw things he'd never seen before. Tall yellow corn shocks and round orange pumpkins. Turkeys gobbling in the barnyard.
What are you doing up?
Turkey said.
It's almost winter. You should be in bed, and I should be making myself scarce.
Turkey took Groundhog home. He tucked him in. He read him a story about pilgrims. He gave him a slice of pumpkin pie. Groundhog curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He tossed and he turned, but he couldn't get to sleep. Finally, he got out of bed. He peered at his clock. 1/2 December. Groundhog poked his nose outside his burrow. Stars twinkled overhead.
I'll just go for a little walk, he said. Maybe that will make me sleepy.
Groundhog went outside. He saw things he'd never seen before. Colored lights glowing on some houses, candles shining in windows, holly wreaths hanging on doors. He heard sleigh bells chiming in the air. Santa flew down in his sleigh.
What are you doing up?
Santa said.
It's winter. You should be in bed.
Santa took Groundhog home in his sleigh. He tucked him in. He read him a Christmas story. He gave him a glass of milk and a cookie. Was bedtime ever difficult in your house? Not really. My kids have always been good sleepers. Not me. I was an expert negotiator. Bedtime always turned into a strategic summit. When my son was younger, he was like a walking alarm clock. At 8 o'clock every night, if you didn't put him to sleep, he'd do it himself. How did that work? He would walk in the room and ask for us to tuck him in. Even on weekends? If we were at friends' houses, he would just curl up on the couch and fall asleep. What about your daughter? She's still a pro at sleeping. When she was a teen, she stopped having sleepovers because her friends always wanted to stay up too late. Wow, do you love sleep like them? No, if I didn't need to sleep, I wouldn't. That's why I wake up early every day to make these videos. Well, thanks for that. My pleasure. Groundhog curled up in his warm, cozy bed. He closed his eyes. He didn't toss and he didn't turn, and soon he fell asleep. Bring! Groundhog opened one eye. It can't be time to get up yet, he grumbled. I just got to sleep. He peered at his clock. February 2nd. Groundhog yawned and stretched. He tumbled out of his burrow. Snow glittered on the ground. The sun was out. The sky was blue. Groundhog saw his shadow. What am I doing up? He said. There are 6 more weeks of winter coming. I should be in bed. He hurried back inside. He ate a bedtime snack. He read himself a bedtime story. Then he tucked himself into his warm, cozy bed. And he pulled up the covers, closed his eyes, and went to sleep. Hey Rex, you know what they say. Sometimes you just need to fetch some fun and stay up past your bedtime. We had a wild night of playing catch and watching dog documentaries last night. Oh, the classic chase your tail and watch tails on TV strategy. I get it. But this morning, my internal clock was barking, time to rise and shine. And all I wanted to do was roll over and hit snooze. Tell me about it. My alarm was like, ring-a-ding-a-ding, it's time to educate young minds. And I was like, no thank you, I'm on strike for 1 more hour. Well, I always say, a tired dog and a sleepy teacher make for a chaotic classroom. Did your students notice your lack of enthusiasm this morning? Absolutely. One of them asked me if I forgot to have my morning coffee. I just looked at them and said, I'm a teacher, not a wizard. Coffee can only do so much. Wise words, my friend. But you know what they say, even the best coffee can't cure the case of a tired tail wagger. Maybe we should start a new trend, dog-friendly coffee breaks. You know, life's too short to sleep through the fun parts, though. And if you thought this video was one of the fun parts, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm Adam, and I'm Rex, and this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. About Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is celebrated on February 2nd. According to tradition, on this day the groundhog wakes from winter hibernation. He leaves his underground den and peers outside. If the day is sunny, the groundhog sees his shadow and becomes frightened. He scurries back into his burrow, and we have 6 more weeks of winter. If the weather is cloudy and the groundhog does not see his shadow, he stays outside and spring begins. In the days before weather satellites and television, it was hard for farmers to know when the harsh winter was over, so they could plant crops. There are many superstitions involving predicting the weather by animal behavior. In Europe, badgers, hedgehogs, and bears were used to forecast the coming of spring. When German settlers arrived in North America, they used a small furry groundhog, also known as a woodchuck, because it wakes from hibernation in February and is easily observed in the eastern United States and Canada. Groundhogs are rodents that belong to the marmot family. They live in underground burrows and hibernate in them from October to February. Their diet consists of tender green plants. They cannot really predict the weather. Did you know 45% of American adults snore occasionally, and 25% are habitual snorers? 12% of people dream entirely in black and white.